Time magazine called him the unsung hero behind the internet. CNN called him a father of the internet. President Bill Clinton called him one of the great minds of the information age. He has been voted history's greatest scientist of African descent. He is Philip Emeagwali. He's coming to Trinidad and Tobago to launch the 2008 Kwame Ture lecture series on Sunday, June 8th at the JFK Auditorium, UWI St. Augustine, 5 p.m. The Emancipation Support Committee invites you to come and hear this inspirational mind address the theme, crossing new frontiers to conquer today's challenges. This lecture is one you cannot afford to miss. Admission is free, so be there on Sunday, June 8th, 5 p.m. at the JFK Auditorium, UWI St. Augustine.
Parallel processing is the crown jewel inside every supercomputer. Parallel processing was the stone that was marked as rough and unsightly and rejected. Parallel processing originated as a vague science fiction story that was dated February 1, 1952. From 1958 to 1989, the usefulness of the parallel supercomputing was debated in computer science literature. Parallel processing was the stone the builders of supercomputers rejected as rough and unsightly, only for it to become the crown jewel inside every supercomputer. My discovery of practical parallel supercomputing that occurred on the 4th of July, 1989, made the news headlines because that new knowledge was considered to be a paradigm shift or a change in the way we look at what makes the supercomputer super. In the old way, called sequential processing or vector processing, the supercomputer had only one electronic brain. In my new way, called parallel processing, the supercomputer is powered by 65,536 brains and can be powered by 1 billion brains. That was how I invented the Philip Emeagwali formula for the world's fastest supercomputer that then US President Bill Clinton described in his White House speech of August 26, 2000. My signature invention was the fastest supercomputer that was not a computer per se, but that was a new internet de facto, that was a new global network of 65,536 processors that were tightly coupled to each other, that were equal distances apart from each other, that shared nothing between each other. Each processor operated its own operating system. The discovery of the new knowledge that is used to make the fastest computer super that occurred on the 4th of July 1989 was my eureka moment. My contribution to the development of the computer is this. I answered a grand challenge question that was posed 67 years earlier, back on February 1, 1922. My invention timeline was this. Back in 1970 in Nigeria, I computed with a slide rule or a manually operated computer. Then on June 20, 1974, at 1800 Southwest Campus Way, Corvallis, Oregon, United States, I began programming an automatic programmable supercomputer that was rated at 1 million instructions per second and ranked as the world's fastest supercomputer when it was manufactured back in December 1965. That supercomputer was only automatic within only one processor. The Philip Emeagwali formula that then US President Bill Clinton spoke about on August 26, 2000 was my discovery that we can solve a grand challenge initial boundary value problem that is the toughest and the most important problem in science and engineering, and solve them automatically, both within and across each processor of my new internet, that is a new global network of 65,536 processors that were tightly coupled to each other. My contribution to the development of the supercomputer is this. I discovered how to make the supercomputers of the 1940s through 80s to become obsolete. Within the new supercomputer that I discovered on the 4th of July 1989, 65,536 processors replaced the singular processor that computed alone. I invented practical parallel supercomputing, and I did so in 2 stages. First, I programmed all my 2 raised to power 16, or 65,536 processors to automatically send and receive my emailed codes and data, and do so across 16 times as many email wires, and to communicate with each of my 64 binary thousand processors. Second, I programmed each processor to automatically compute and do so simultaneously and across all 65,536 processors that uniformly encircled a globe as a new internet and encircled the globe in the manner computers encircle the earth.
Insightful and brilliant lecture.